Welcome back to blackstardove. Welcome back to my channel. As always, I hope you're having a very productive and fulfilling week, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, as long as it's trying to better yourself as a person. This video will be about black fathers and why they are necessary. And I'm talking about for both good and for bad. Like, black fathers are necessary. And as a black father myself, all I can do is share my story. So I have a biological father. Well, let me tell you why I made this video. Let's get into the breakdown of it. So my uncle reached out to me. My uncle on my father's side. He said, "Hey, I just saw your father. Do you want to talk to your father?" And I said, "Nah, I don't want nothing to really do or say to that person. Like, I don't hate him, but at the same time, I have nothing to say to him. Literally, I can count on my hand the number of times I have talked to my father since I've lived in Phoenix. I've almost lived in Phoenix for almost 10 years. And I can count on one hand the amount of times I talked to my father. But it's all about choice. Like, being a father is about choice. But you also have to make sure that, your head is in the right place. But you continuously build that over time. Let me give you my story. All right, so when my son's mother was pregnant, I did not want a child. I wanted to be one of those people who had like a long-term girlfriend, didn't have any kids, would be 40, 50 years old, just traveling, like never got married, but we we just like long-term girlfriend, boyfriend type stuff. That's what I initially wanted. So when my son was conceived, we signed like a makeshift contract where I gave up my rights as a father. In return, she didn't want nothing to be received financially. So I was not there the entire time for the pregnancy. And that's just me being very transparent and me being very honest. I've said this before in previous videos, but I just want to make sure I'm very transparent when I say that. I was not there for the pregnancy. I didn't come back until I want to say a week before my son was born. And that's because I had a dream. And in that dream, a very important lady came to me, my auntie, who's been at that point almost dead for 10 years. She came to me and she said, make sure you take care of your son. And then that's when I contacted his mother, and I've been there ever since. And ever since my son has been born, I've been there. And I had to learn some things along the way and just get better as a father. But the point is, I was there because I chose to be there. Even now, ever since my son was 5 months old, I've taken him on my off days. So initially, when I first started taking him when he was born, my off days were Wednesday and Sunday, so I would pick him up Tuesday night. So I do apologize about that. What I was saying, that it's all about a choice. So I have my son now every weekend. So those are usually my off times. Every weekend, I have my son every weekend. Being a father is all about choice. And then throughout the week, I make sure I help out his mother. It's mostly financially. But the point is, being a father is all about choice. So when I said I didn't want to speak to my father, have nothing to speak to him, it was literally because I was like, there's a choice. Like, my father chose not to be a father. And that's okay, that's his choice. But I chose to be a father. And you can't get mad at me, or he can't get mad at me if I don't want to speak with him. Because I'm like, okay, you was never there. You never wanted to be there. And anytime that you reached out, it's because you needed some help. That's perfectly fine. But with my son, I want to make sure that he's there, that I'm there. I make sure I tell him I love him all the time. I make sure I give him hugs. I make sure that he knows that he's loved by his father. And then I do appreciate the men that I do call my father, my stepfather, who came in and raised 2 children that wasn't his. And I'm very indebted and grateful for that man and the things that he did in my life. But the whole point being is that being a father is all about choice. Like when I'm with my son, when I have my son, like I feel like that's a part of me that I have. And yes, now I only have him like during the weekends, but the agreement that I made with his mother is that once he turns 10, then I would have him full time, and then she would have him on the weekends or whatever. So she's getting like the first 9 years, I get the second 9 years. But man, just like any father that's a father can tell you that's an actual father will tell you that one of the best feelings is being with his child or children. And there's a lot of black men out there who have kids and choose not to be a father. And I know sometimes it's the mother's not letting us see the child, but that's very rarely ever true. And if we're just keeping it 100, that's very rarely ever true. I know tons of men who don't see their kids, and that's by choice. I know tons of men who literally they probably like can count on one hand the number of times they see their children a year. But they tell that child's mother that they're out hustling, they're out making moves and all that stuff, but they're not. Cause sorry about that. If you it's pouring down raining, so you probably might hear a whole lot of thunder, and that was like a huge thunderclap. And I was like, okay, it's about to get serious. So the main point being is that like I want to reach out and I want to let people know, because people just think that a father is a luxury. In the black community, I guess that's so, because there's so many real actual fathers, and I'm doing my best to make sure I counter that. But again, I'm only one person, and all I can do is set an example and hope other men can see that and do better than me. Because hell, I'm not perfect, and I mess up a lot, especially trying to raise this 5-year-old. But if you have kids, and deep down, it's not because she's not letting you see them, it's because you choose not to see them. Think about this. This is your legacy. Like, it shouldn't be a luxury to have a black father. Like, I go to a lot of these parenting events because I like to do stuff with my son. And a lot of times I am the only black man there. Like I see white families. I see like whole white families. And then, I do want to get married and all that stuff. And one of the biggest things that I have to be disappointed with myself is that my son grows up in a broken home. And that's my fault, because I would never, like, knowing that I know now, even now, I would not go and mess with his mother. I should have had a child with someone I was married to. But that's my fault. So, like, that's one curse I couldn't break, but the other curses I can break. Like, I can be a father to my son. So I just want to encourage any black father to, go ahead. It's okay. You don't have to be perfect. Like, a lot of men think that since they don't have this ideal perfect life, they can't be the perfect father. It's not always about money. It's a lot about money. Let's keep it 100% frank. Let's keep it all the way real. Like, money plays a major issue. I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's not always about money. It's about just seeing your legacy and seeing the next generation that's coming up behind you, and knowing that you're doing everything you can to provide. Like, that's what makes me a good father. Like, my son doesn't have to worry about anything. He has plenty of food. He has he has plenty of toys, all that stuff. But deep down, it's the fact that I know that he sees me and I get to tell him every time that I love him. Even when I'm upset with him, like when I'm upset, and sometimes I yell or talk very very stern to him, I end it with "I love you." That may be good or that may be bad. We'll see going in the future. But I at least want him to know that I love him. I at least, like, because I see him, and I see him, He's so excited to see his father. And I see other kids that don't have their father, and I see them wishing that they had their father. Black fathers are important. We are the pillars of the community. Like, our community is crumbling because we're not there. Like, we're supposed to be the support system. You know, we're supposed to hold all this shit together. But there's so few of us and we're all spread out, we can't hold it together and the shit's crumbling around us. And then we want to sit and wonder why it's crumbling around us. And then we say things like, choose better men. Now that's true. A part of that is true. Like, a lot of women choose men that are no way, shape, or form they should be involved with. Okay, a woman should use discernment. But as a man, you also have to use discernment, because you know that you're getting a woman pregnant who you had no intentions of ever being with. But since you got her pregnant, you should most definitely take care of your responsibility, because you have a responsibility of a man. You have a responsibility to uphold the standards passed down. Now, there's been a few generations where standards have been skipped, you know, because we had some single moms. But we're all smart enough to know history, and we know how powerful the black man is. And if we're as powerful as we once claimed we are, we can easily get back on track. Take care. I love you. Peace.